And it's the Jeff Show. I don't have an opening, so I just say, welcome to the Jeff Show. Tuesday nights with Jeff. No, it'll be fine. All right. Anyway, all right. How's it? How is everybody this evening? Ugh. I'll be right back. All right. Time to get started here. Okay. All right. How is everybody? August, thanks for coming out. We're looking forward to seeing you this weekend. And then we're looking forward to Jonathan. Jonathan, I hope that you got some donations there on the thing that we shared. Hope you're doing all right. I look forward to seeing you this weekend. And then we also look forward to seeing. Had enough of this weather. Oh yeah, okay. I do have my heater on. I've had enough of that. Yeah. Disappears. Okay. It's the Jeff Show. All right. Okay, I got a full agenda here. 2 sides to talk about. I almost forgot to do the video. Actually, 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh wait, I'm doing a video. I'll explain why I would have forgotten a little bit. I don't know. I don't know, Bill. What's going on here? All right. Okay. All right. So Coco, I'm going to do a little bit about Coco this last weekend. Then I'm going to go into all the other stuff. Okay. And so this last weekend we were at Space Coast, and we've been at that location at the Space Coast Convention Center that's behind the Holiday Inn. We've been there for like 6 years. Okay. And I would say most of them have been pretty good. It is one of our smaller shows. This year we were down about 60 people or so, maybe 60 or 70 people from last year, which was more like a record event. And so we do that show because in February and November, because usually that way, because of the way the building is laid out, is there's that little opening. My wife used to sit outside, sit outside. She doesn't want to sit outside. So we took up a table inside, and so she's sitting outside, now, or sitting inside. And then we have a back area. What's cool about it, so the positives is that, what's cool about it is that they got food there, drinks and everything during the show. This particular year, actually the setup crew, part of the setup crew has been there the whole time. So the person that runs the kind of catering has been there the whole time, and then the bartender person's been there the whole time. But obviously, the actual setup has changed. I'll get into that. Tampa is going to be April 18th and 19th. I'm going to be talking about that here soon. Okay. All right. So, but that being said, and I'll come back to the comments, guys, and I'll answer your questions and stuff. But anyway, so let me just stick with my written agenda here. But anyway, so the Coco show is pretty good. I am starting to feel a little like it's getting to be a little small as far as vendor setup. We started out there, 6 years ago. I mean, I don't. They give us a really good deal on that place. They give us the way that they handle things is usually pretty good. But we've had a lot of weird stuff happen at that show. And so but anyway, and also I noticed some issues with vendors, how things were pretty tight and with tables. And then this time I was, because they had a party all the way up to midnight, wasn't able to get in to adjust tables at all. And that really affected the morning. So I was already kind of under the gun right from the rip there in the morning, because I had to move all the tables just like 2 feet and move chairs around and all this stuff. And I really hate doing that. And that's one of the reasons we haven't been back to the VFW in a little while, which we may still go back there, but I'm just mentioning it. So, and then I also had an email from another location email me. I haven't looked at the space. I'm not going to say who it is, but another space in the area, I guess that visited our show this weekend. They reached out to me to ask about maybe doing a show there. Again, we have a relationship now. The lady, I just want to mention her because she was there when we started. She was there during COVID, and her name was Candy Cody. Candy Cody's. She was the manager there for a long time, and I guess she passed away last year from like she had a kidney transplant or something, and she had some complications from that. So there's pretty much the sales and stuff is all new there. So I don't even know. I don't know if they're gonna honor like our pricing that we've had for a long time. So hopefully that doesn't change. But if not, I may look at other locations for that. So we'll probably would be back there in November or February. It depends on other shows that we're doing and all that. But overall, Coco was pretty good. Actually, and Jeff was a great guest. He talked to everybody. There were people that brought stuff for him to sign and everything like that. So I think now normally I would not book a guest for that show just because of the amount of people that we get. It's really, I've said this many, many times, but it's really expensive. Guests are expensive. Okay. And if you're not, we're not other shows that are guest focused that charge a lot for guests. Now we're obviously not the cheapest. I'll get into that too in a minute. We're not the cheapest, but our shows aren't guest focused, but it costs like $2,000 or so to bring one guest in, and at $10, which is our average price, that's 200 people. So if we, and I'm not going to kid you, we're going to, yes, there are shows that we get a lot of people. Okay. Well over 1,000. Okay. But our average one-day show is usually about 800 or so. And then Coco is on the lower end of that. So, I would have never booked a guest. Most of the guests I'm going to book for like a Coco are people that are local, like for example, Brutus, or people that are already in Florida that they just, come and sign. All right. There's a lot of people that already live in Florida that we can book. Or I believe there are. And I'm going to talk about some of them here in a minute, but basically, that's who I would book. So, because when you start getting into flights for people's spouses, hotels, all of that stuff, and then people want, guarantees and appearance fees and all this stuff, it gets crazy. Okay, and then next thing you know, we'll just be out of business because we're doing guests, and my attitude is I would rather spend more money on giving something away, or I'd rather spend more money on spending money with vendors, or giving other stuff out. That's just me. Okay. That would help the show. But guests, when we can get them and they're good, and it's it's going to be a fun thing, then that's one thing. And that brings me up to our price changes. I did post this on the event. I did post it on the event on our page. We do not sell tickets until the venue, the all the vendor space is sold out. So that's why on our, we have a unique setup, guys. And I realize that we're not. And that doesn't mean that I'm doing everything right and they're doing everything wrong. It just means that I'm doing it the way that I want to do it. And so I don't sell tickets until I have vendors, a full show, because I don't want to refund anybody if something happens to the show. I don't want to refund ticket money until I know we have all the vendors. So that being said, we haven't really raised our prices. We've been experiencing. I know I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I just want to. But we had a thing happen this weekend that I want to try to mitigate from happening again. I mean, everybody watching this is not going to, they're not everybody that's gonna. We're still gonna get kickback on this, but so. Over the last 3 years or so, or even 4 years, every once in a while, when we rent small spaces, and I do that because I don't want to have a lot of duplication. Like I don't want to have 10 Pokemon or people. I mean, maybe we will, but I don't want to have 10 Funko people. I don't want to have 20 people selling the same stuff because I want to fill a space. That's not the way I work. I'd rather have a smaller space and then be choosy on the vendors that are there and have a waiting list for people to come in and then be able to say, okay, you fit our show, you're going to make money, come in. Okay, so I'd rather have a smaller focused show than having a big show and it's filled with extras that you don't care about. That's my mindset. Okay, so what does that mean? And that means if I see that we have a lot of people that are interested in the show, and that's awesome. What I've played around with is, because we'll have a smaller room or something like that, I've played around with this idea of early bird pricing. So we would charge 15 between 9 and noon, or 9-11, and then after the second half, I would just charge 10. Okay, so I've done that a couple of times here and there, and then I've decided that what I'm going to do for 2026 is that I'm just going to do it at all the shows. Now, what does that do? What it does is vendors, it does with the crowd, it splits the crowd up. So now you got the people that are really wanting to be there, and they want to get in there early and all that stuff. And yes, they are paying more. Okay, but there's still that $10 time frame also. And what it does is the show now feels busy the whole time versus being front loaded and having everybody waiting in line and the parking is super full and all that stuff right at the beginning of the show. So what I've done is I've split the pricing up, and now that might be upsetting to some people. It certainly was to a couple people here at the beginning of the show this last weekend, because they believe that they're like, well, it's supposed to be 10, and I'm not trying for it to not be 10, but I'm trying to make some changes. Okay, everything is up, prices are all up. Everything is up. I'm paying more. I'm paying more for advertising. I'm paying more for everything. Okay. And I'm reinvesting the money in the show. We have staff that we haven't had before. We have a lot of different things that we didn't have when we started. So, so anyway, that's what we're planning on doing is sticking with 9 to noon, 15, and then 10 afternoon. Now that is going to be pretty much for every show. That's a one-day show, except for a couple locations that I'm still developing, that maybe the attendance isn't where I want it. So I may just leave it at 10. Like for instance, it'll probably be 10 at Tallahassee because I've never done a show, or I'm going to evaluate that on that. So I'm just telling you about the pricing. Okay. So let's see. And so, we did have an incident, and I just want to move on. If myself and my wife basically run the show, my family runs the show. This isn't just some person that I hired off the street or whatever. And so and I'm only going to say this one time. Because I feel like, out of respect for my wife, I feel it's a good idea for me to tell you guys this. So we did have some people that kind of like, come at your, people, come at us at the beginning of the show because they didn't like the price change. And so if that happens again, and you're, and people are kind of being belligerent with my wife or whatever, I'm just going to ask you to leave. All right. It's not a money thing. I could care less. I'll give you your money and move on. But, just be respectful to people. And not just the staff at our show, just in general. Everybody has a sister, mother, brother that, deserves to, to be talked to, a way that you would treat your friend. Okay. We don't have any real problems at our shows, and I'm really appreciative of that. But every once in a while, people, they think we have these other shows that are free out there, and you're welcome to go to those. I'm not trying to do a free show. I'm not trying to do that. I spend a lot of time, a lot of effort. I'm not a vendor. I vend every once in a while, but I suck as a vendor. I'm going to tell you, you should buy stuff from me actually when I'm vending, because I suck at pricing and all that stuff. So, I admit that. Now I understand what a good table should look like, but I'm a crappy seller. But so I just only focus on the event and making sure people are there, try to get the best vendors that we can, and all that. So anyway, so we're going to move on. Coco was pretty good, but we did have those hiccups with the tables and pricing and all that. So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the schedule and here, but before I go with some news here, let's go over and look at some comments. And and William, yeah, the largest toy show. We are the largest toy. We sell the most toys in the South, guys. Okay. I'm there are stores that sell a lot. Okay. I'm not going to mention all the stores. I respect all the stores. I'm going to be doing a magazine that's about the stores. Okay. So, I respect everybody with a store, and more power to you if you have a store, but as a grouping, okay, of stuff, I really think that there's nobody that sells more stuff, more toys as a collectible toy thing in the South than us. I mean, we're doing 25 shows a year. And I mean, I'm not a braggy person, but thank you for mentioning that, Bill. I appreciate you. And then, hey man, when are we going to see Damien? You're all over the world. We're all over the world. When are we going to see Mr. Retro over here? I feel like, man, I was thinking he's mad at me, but we're all right. Okay. So, Mr. Marino, yeah, that is April 18th. Bring up the schedule here. April 18th and 19th at the fairgrounds. Just to give you an idea, I do have some tables still left of some aisles. Walls and corners are pretty much gone. Okay. So hit me up if you're interested. I think I have one end cap left. All right. Yeah. All right. So let's see, Marvin, when you were in Orlando, approached you about showing me 3D printed works. Yeah. Okay. So on the 3D printed stuff, send me your website, message me on our page. Send me your page and stuff so I can evaluate that. We get on the 3D printed stuff. So and obviously I remember talking to you, Marvin, and the way it made it sound, it was like different than the regular 3D printed stuff. So I get at least 5 to 6 3D printed guys at applications for every show. And I only let in one or two at the most. And that's like in Tampa, we'll probably have 2. One on each end of the show, but in general, I don't let in really more than that. There is one guy, John Humpty, who brings the big stuff. That's who made one like the head that I got back there. He made that, and he brings in those Japanese machines too. So he's got a great setup, but we don't get him every time. So there was a couple vendors that they were selling other stuff, and then they added 3D, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? So anyway, I'm just letting you know that it's got to be kind of a cool thing or something. I'm not going to let in 10 3D people. That's not how I work. In fact, I had a vendor here at my house earlier that was talking about some other Comic Cons and some other shows, and he was like, it's all crafts, it's all this, there wasn't a lot of toys or whatever. So and I think it was a month ago or something like that he was talking about, and so I'm not just trying to fill space. I rent big venues, big spaces for that reason. And Zeta was able to come out. Thanks for coming out. Maybe we'll try to get you a ride, because I know you're not driving really. And then awesome. All right, great. Yeah, that was your first time in Cocoa, so we'll see. And St. Augustine. Yes, St. Augustine is coming up. It's in April, late April, and you should start seeing the ads for that. And if you haven't, I still have plenty of space. We're going to be back there at World Golf Village in late April. So Josh, so we'll be back there. And then thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Mary. Mary helps is helping us book some people. So and I do think that the general public thinks that it's just, oh, hey, just go out and get this guy. It's not like that at all. So okay, general public dynamic pricing. Yeah, and I thanks for saying that. I think it's Mike. But I just think that what we found is that it breaks up the crowd. It makes the show more smooth. And then also people, when you have these smaller parking lots at these smaller venues that are free parking, you're not filling up the parking, where people are upset because, they can't get in the door, or, I mean, it's good for us. We like to see lines, but and vendors do too, but I'm trying to make it as smooth as possible to people. And and the other thing too is vendors, because of the hotel prices here in Florida, and once you go to a 2-day show, because we have our seasonal, like right now, what probably don't realize is, like, for next week's show in West Palm, I had to pay $400 for one night at the hotel down the street. Okay, so when you start talking $200-$300, $300 average for hotel rooms, vendors don't want to do a 2-day show unless they think they're going to make a lot of money. That's just expenses starts to add up, and so I'd rather them be able to give you guys great deals and stuff. So I'm doing more 1-days, because the vendors say I'm king of the 1-day. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, thanks, Miss Lisa. Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, you'll be there this weekend. We will be there. We are not running the front. I am going to. That is on my agenda. So just let go to this weekend. This Sunday, we will be in Bradenton, and our friend Toy Warp Reviews will be vending there. He'll have some stuff. It's his backyard. So Toy Warp will be there, and then. Now, I am personally going to, let me just kind of put this on the side. So I am personally, me and Lisa, my wife, are going, when we're not at a show, when we're not doing a show, we're going to shows, basically, or I am anyway. And a lot of times we're at a store or something like that on our weekends off, most of the time. This weekend, so about a year ago, our friend Jerry, that comes to Tampa and Coral Springs, he told me about this show called Red Line Jackpot. Okay, and that is in Las Vegas. And so I decided to get together some of my my friend Sean, who helps me out at the show, and then our friend Leif, who comes to West Palm. He lives most of the time in Miami now, but for work. But he's a Hot Wheels vendor. most of the time. Anyway, we're going to Redline Jackpot, which is, these old school 60s cars. This is one that I have. I'm not a big collector of these because they're really expensive, but giving you an idea, they have like the red line, on the tire. So from 68 to 75, they had they're called red lines. I think it's 75 or 76. But anyway, so we're going to that in the morning. And then we'll be there till Saturday. So our help, my number one guy there, Sean, and the other guy, TK, are the other staff we have. Our help, TK, will be there on Sunday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning, and then we are getting back on Saturday, but it's late, and so we'll probably be there for the opening of the show. So if I seem a little tired, it's because I flew from Vegas on Saturday, but on Saturday night. But we're going to that show and then hitting some whatever, see what's up out there. Okay, and that's that's this week. Again, Bradenton is this Sunday. So you'll see me. I'll be posting some stuff like I normally do. Maybe not as much, but I'm going to try to get samples out. Tickets are online for the Bradenton show for this weekend. Let me show you. Let me share some stuff about the building, and then I'll come back to some comments. Okay. Let's share with that, and let's see. I'm going to talk about Bradenton here. All right, let me go ahead and share that. So again, we're going to be back at not there. That's our next. Okay. All right. So this is the hotel that we're at this weekend. This is the Palmetto Marriott. It's actually next to, just so you guys know, it's actually next door to the Bradenton Convention Center. There's a whole story there why we're not at the Bradenton Convention Center, because you might say, well, why aren't you at the? Because of the pricing and the way that they handle deposits and payment and all of that. We just ended up at this nice hotel, which is plenty of space for us. It's like 7,500 square feet. And it's a beautiful room. In fact, I'll show it to you here. Let me go ahead and make myself a little smaller so I can show you that. And that's the restaurant. This is the hotel. It's brand new. In the last couple of years, rooms are beautiful. This is the outdoor. So our show is actually down here to the bottom corner. I'm pretty sure. That's the lobby. This is the lobby. When you walk in, our friend Mark stayed there last time. Rooms. All right. I'm waiting to get restaurant. More room stuff. Sorry, guys. I'm looking for the info for the banquet stuff. Oh, here it is. So this is what the room looks like. And they got brand new tables there for vendors. They're not no crappy beat up tables. They're really sturdy. So you can put comics on them and stuff like that. And the staff there is super nice, and they're really glad to have us. So let me go ahead and bring myself back here, and then let's see, and then I'll talk about. I think I'll talk about. The farmers market. Yeah, and then this weekend, like my wife was just saying, they're going to have the farmers market in the front. That it really helped out last time, attendance wise. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot going on this weekend, guys. I want to tell you about what's going on, but then again, I don't. But there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff in St. Pete. There's stuff in Tampa. And it's that season right now. So let's see what happens. Last time we were there in September. Let's see how it goes. All right. I do have a lot of interest though in the show. And so that should be good. All right. Mark said he saw a bunch of new customers. That's awesome. And cannot even compete with the prices that we have. Fact basis. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ocala, hey Steven, it's nice to hear from you. Ocala will probably go on sale. I would say probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm busy this week, and then so probably like March 10th or something, or 9th or something is when that'll go on sale, because I'm gonna try to get Tallahassee up and some other stuff. Really, I could put it up anytime, but as soon as I get a chance, I'll definitely be putting it up. Because on Ocala, I did a two date deal, so the contract's already signed, the date that's set in stone, pricing I already know and everything. So it's just a matter of kind of duplicating the old show and then putting it out into the new date. So yeah, it'll be sooner that, and then okay, and then okay, let's see what he says. I'm back, ready for the next show. Videos. Yeah, man, you added all this stuff to your collection. I haven't seen you. You buy it on eBay, or what are you doing? December to March is usually blackout for me. Okay. Oh, all right. All right. Yeah. He's a worldwide, man. He's nationwide. I'm nationwide. He's worldwide. All right. And then oh, you're talking about the 1 day thing. Yes. I have vendors that want to come for just Sunday, and I don't usually do that, but I'm going to try to make it available for August there. And then let's see, Mike, incredible 3D printing dioramas. Okay, cool. All right. I think actually you're talking about Mike Williams. And this is a different group. That guy is a different person. Okay. How did you not get the text? So I will send you the information. Awesome. All right. Cool, man. Aubrey, you're welcome to come anytime. You're cool guy, man. And I appreciate the card you gave me. I got it back here. I thought I might have lost the thing, but with all the craziness at the end of the show, but I got it. Okay. All right. And Jose, I'll send that and to some information. Let's see. Most of them are 8 foots. So there's a few 6 foots. Okay. Let's see. All right. Let me go ahead and see what I didn't cover on my sheet here, guys. And then let's talk about the schedule here. All right. So we talked about Cocoa. I talked about Tallahassee as for sure for June 20th and 21st. What's cool is because we are at the we are at the North Florida Fairgrounds in Tallahassee. And what's great is the tables are going to be basically what we pay in Orlando area, or actually less. I'm going to be, because the pricing they're giving me, I think I'm going to be able to do like $120 for 2 days tables. Okay. That'll be aisles, and then $130 for walls. Now, that's for 2 days. Okay. And then that's for Tallahassee. If you are let's see, I'm trying to get rid of this thing. Okay. My bad. If you are a super vendor or a regular vendor, or you're coming from, far away, a regular super vendor, I'm going to give you a discount on these tables because I want to have, the right vendors at this show. I don't know too many people up in Tallahassee. So for the right vendor, I'm going to give you a special deal. There's about 60, I think there's about 60 spaces. All of them are like 10 by 8 or something like that. And so so this is a great deal, great pricing. And I'm willing, if you're coming from really far away and you've been with me a few times or whatever, I'm going to give you special pricing. So hit me up to come out to Tallahassee. It's about, just in case Pleasant wants to drive. No, I was told we'll probably have Abe for food. And Abe said it's about 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours from Jacksonville. From my house in Lakeland, it's 4 hours. So it's probably probably about 3 hours from Orlando, I would guess, somewhere in there. So it's North Florida Fairgrounds. That's the Tallahassee site or show. That's a go on that. The other new show that I'm going to be making changes on, okay? This July 26th is going to change for Lakeland. It's either going to go back to our normal date, or we're going to move it to September. I got to get another date from RP Funding because there's an anime show next door to us, and I don't really want to. I don't really want to. I don't want to do a show with an anime show next to us. I just think it creates confusing things. Maybe not. But right now I'm leaving it there, and I'm going to talk to the venue. I did try to go last weekend, and I know I'm kind of running here, guys. I did try to go to the Orlando Car Museum last week, and I thought for a minute that I was going to be booking that. For Super RetroCon for July 26th, and then pushing Lakeland. Remove other media. Okay. It wouldn't let me add it. It wouldn't let me just switch. So this is the mall that's, turned into an auto museum and stuff. And anyway, yeah, a great location and all that, but they didn't have. I went all the way over there. I spent the whole day looking at it, and then they tell me like the next day that the date isn't available. So they've given me some other dates for Super RetroCon. I gotta review them. I think I was just so irritated that I just kind of was like, yeah. So we may be going to Fort Myers. I'm checking on that. So that July might be that date, and then I'm going to move Lakeland to another show date, most likely. I'm just going through my list here, guys. Make sure I've covered everything. So again, I'm going to go back to the schedule and say, okay, so Bradenton this weekend, I've got nothing. If you wanted in on that, you missed out. I do have a waiting list on that. It's sold out. West Palm for the next week is sold out. All right. If something comes up, if you really, really want to be in, then hit me up next week. If somebody bails, then I'll put you in there, maybe, depending on what you have. We're really, we've got plenty of comics and games right now. There's a lot of comic vendors that we have, and there's plenty of video game stuff there. So if you have something other than that, maybe, and we have lots of diecast. That people are crazy diecast people down there. Okay, and then Altamont is also sold out. That's April 12th at the Hilton Orlando. That's a totally new venue. We're gonna have a new guest, and Mary helped me book this. It's gonna say Celebworks on here, but I do have a contract for them. So let's see. Sorry guys, I'm gonna share the screen here, and that is Greg Berger, who is Grimlock, and he's also other things. You see here Odie, Alpine, the Saboteur, Jetfire, and a Constructicon, and these other characters. So here's a whole thing on him.
Oh, he's horsing the pig.
Cybertron. I'm gonna hopefully have a Robeson Grimlock. I'm gonna be probably buying one of those because I want to have it as a display. And so these are all the characters, some of the characters. He had Winnie the Pooh characters, the Mysterio, Metal Gear, a bunch of things, man. He was there. So he's going to be, I'm hoping to book him for more than one event, but I'm going to try, we're going to have him for the Altamont show. Okay, I'm going to come back over to, I will, Jose, on the on Daytona, but I need to find a new venue. I don't want to have a big space there at Ocean Center. The parking is really the problem there. It's $15 to park. And I just think that is, more than I want customers. I really don't want to have parking an ideal, but I mean, I know we have it at the fairgrounds, and once that hits $15, that's when I'm going to have to start looking at other alternatives, I think, but I don't really want to give up the fairgrounds. I like our shows there. Well, we'll still do it. Probably we'll still do the July show for sure, with that because of the space. But the other two, I don't know. Maybe I'll evaluate that. But okay, and then let's see. Understand the goal there. A lot of anime that has been okay. This is more about MT. This is more about vendors not wanting to sign up. If an anime vendor, like for instance, we will have Japanese stuff this weekend. We'll have some model kits. I don't know that much about anime, but I'm told that a guy who has some really good stuff is a friend of his is an old vendor of ours, and he has a lot of anime stuff. But it's more about vendors not signing up. Like we don't have those people that are interested in it. Now maybe I need to go and network at a anime show, but and then August said he has a bunch of anime, so go ahead and bring it and see. We want to try to have something for everyone, for sure. Okay, but it's really more about what vendors are willing to sign up to the show, and even vintage. We don't get enough vintage, but we're also not. We have people that we have people that come and expect more 60s stuff, and we get that, but we don't get it every show. I'd like to have more, but those customers are a little bit. Those aren't as they don't come to our show as much as far as the bulk of the people. All right. Let's see. Again, Altamont sold out. So Tampa, I've got some aisles, and I have an end cap, I think. The other thing that is happening in Tampa is Kaz will be there. Sorry, I've got a lot of stuff to show you guys. I just want to. Okay. So Kaz will be back in April. They're doing 3 shows with us right now. I think they're planning on, maybe if I can find them a table, be that March 8th next week. And then they're planning on being at Tampa, and then they're also going to be in St. Augustine. Okay. That's the 3. Alexandria. All right. Well, hit me up. Okay. Maybe we'll see if we can do something. Either that, or I can put you where we were. So message me. Okay. All right. More retro, I'm going to say. These guys that come that are looking for the tin toys, the old Tonkas, the old tin trucks and all that, they're older than you. They're older than you, Mike. Okay, just FYI. Okay. All right. And, okay, so Kaz will be back in Tampa. Also, we're going to have a comic book grading company. I'm working on that. Okay, they can't announce it yet because it's not a firm thing, but I've asked a comic book grading submission company to just set up at our shows, some of our shows. And then also I'm looking for a PSA, submitter that I'm willing to give maybe some space to at our show Tampa for sure, because I'd like to have them at least at Tampa at our Tampa shows. And so I may just try to find a store or something that does submissions and try to get them to come out. Because I'm getting asked by that. Now that brings up a thing about, we get all these comments on the page. We get all the comments on the event, ads and stuff. And this last week. So, if you're looking for something specific, okay, if you're looking for something, go ahead and message it me, and I will ask around vendors if they have it. So if I know of a vendor that might have your stuff, I'll contact that person. Maybe they're coming, or maybe they aren't coming, and maybe I just know that they have that item. So if you want something specific, please feel free to hit me up, hit us up on the page, and I'll try to find it for you. So that happened this last week. I said, hey, there's a guy that what happened is he came on the page. He said, I'm going to this show for one last time to find my Dukes of Hazzard car. And I'm like, dude, if you're looking for a specific car, maybe you should just get it on eBay, or something. But I said, hey, send me a picture and I'll look for it. So he did that. And I was like, you know what? I think I know somebody that might have that. And they were coming to Coco, and they only do Coco in some Orlando shows. Okay. So if you missed it, Mike or Matt Flynn was at our show. He only does Coco, and he always has really good stuff. Okay. He had the Sight Kill. He had Diecast Hulk. He had a bunch of the stuff that I posted. I mean, we got other vendors that have good stuff, but I'm just saying he usually comes and brings graded, stuff that you don't see every day. And one of the things he had was this Dukes of Hazzard car that the guy asked about. On the card, mint, unpunched. So I'll be grading this now, okay, because this is hard. This is a hard card to find a case for, and it is in super, super, super clean condition, okay. So this is what the guy was looking for, and he didn't even show up. So, after all that complaining about, oh, I'm going to come and, one last time, I said, hey, ask for me at the front and I'll take you to where the guy is with the car. We actually had a loose one too. So I don't know. They didn't show up. I never was asked, hey, I'm so-and-so. So, but I did find what you're looking for. I find stuff. So, I've had people from Georgia contact me, and then I contact a vendor that I know has those rare, stupid items. So, I mean, Mark Moriarty has at least like 2 or 3 storage facilities full of stuff. Okay. So these guys are not messing around, these vendors out here. Okay. So if you're looking for something, let me know. Okay. Yes. Cocoa Beach, as in I Dream of Genie. Yes, actually. We were just at there. That's where the, we were on the highway. We're inland a little bit at Cocoa, not Cocoa Beach, but yes, Mary, that is the same place where they do the astronaut, the same area. It's called Space Coast for a reason. That was our flyer, Space Coast, as in they're taking off. So yeah, very cool. I need the Daisy Duke card now. Okay, what are you doing to me? Okay, anyway, I haven't seen the Daisy Duke car in a while. So all right, the Jeep. I did see an actual life-size one last week, though, Bill. Okay, I think I've covered everything. We'll see you this Sunday. Like I said, I'll be doing a little bit less posts this week because I'll be in Vegas, but I will be posting. So, and then vendors, if you have stuff you want posted, hit me up. I will send pictures, and then we'll see you this weekend. I'm going to try to find a spot for Brutus Beefcake this weekend in Bradenton. If we can find a spot, or TK or Sean can find a spot for him, then we'll have him. He just hit me up, like I think he was in England or something this last weekend. But if we can find a spot for him, then he'll be there. Otherwise, we'll be having a guest where we can find him. Yeah. So he comes out, but again, he's local. We're friends with him, so we can find a spot for him, and we should have. I think so. I would hit up right after us. I think at 9:00. The Shellhead, Mr. Hollow, Shellhead Toys. So look them up on Facebook. They do a weekly video around 9:00 or 8:30 or 9:00, and hit him up because he's be somebody that would have that. We might have some other turtles. We always have turtles. I just don't know how old they are or what we got. I mean, last week we had some, but anyway, we will hopefully see everybody this Sunday, and have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Bye now.